The neon lights flicker as a camera slowly pans across a crowded pawn shop floor, voices overlapping, tempers rising, and deals hanging by a thread. This wasn't just any store. It was a battlefield of bargains, egos, and raw human emotion. Welcome back to the unforgettable world of Hardcore Pawn, where every day felt like a high-stakes drama, and every customer brought a story you couldn't ignore. But years have passed since the show ruled daytime TV, and fans have been left wondering, what really happened to the larger-than-life personalities who made the show legendary? Today, we dive deep into their journeys, uncovering where they are now and how life has changed since the camera stopped rolling. A.T. the Heart of Chaos was Les Gold, the sharp-minded and no-nonsense owner of American Jewelry and Loan. Known for his quick wit and even quicker deals, Les wasn't just running a pawn shop. He was running a legacy. Long before reality TV fame, Les had built his business from the ground up, learning the trade from his grandfather and turning it into a multi-million-dollar empire. On screen, he was the calm in the storm, often stepping in when situations spiraled out of control. But off-screen, life wasn't always as smooth. After the show ended, Les focused on expanding his brand beyond television. He leaned into public speaking, sharing his knowledge of entrepreneurship, negotiation, and leadership. His book and speaking engagements allowed him to connect with fans on a more personal level, proving that his expertise went far beyond the pawn counter. Today, Les remains active in business, continuing to guide the store while also mentoring the next generation. Then there was Seth Gold, Les's son, who brought a more modern and strategic approach to the family business. Seth often clashed with his father over how the shop should be run, creating some of the show's most memorable moments. Where Les relied on instinct and experience, Seth pushed for organization, branding, and long-term growth. After the show wrapped, Seth took on an even bigger role in the company, helping to streamline operations and modernize the business. His vision helped keep American Jewelry and Loan relevant in an ever-changing retail landscape. Seth also embraced digital platforms, understanding the importance of connecting with a new generation of customers online. While he may not be on TV anymore, his influence behind the scenes has been stronger than ever, and who could forget Ashley Gold, the fiery and fashionable daughter, whose presence brought both glamour and intensity to the shop floor. Ashley was never afraid to speak her mind, and her confrontations with customers, and sometimes her own family, became iconic. But behind the scenes, Ashley had dreams that extended beyond the pawn business. Eventually, she made the bold decision to leave the family store and carve out her own path. She launched her own jewelry line, focusing on high-end designs that reflected her personal style. It wasn't an easy journey. Stepping away from a successful TV show and family business came with risks, but Ashley proved she had the determination to succeed on her own terms. Today, she continues to build her brand, showing that sometimes the biggest risks lead to the most rewarding outcomes. Of course, Hardcore Pawn wouldn't have been the same without the unforgettable employees who kept the shop running and sometimes added fuel to the fire. Rich Pyle, the tough and often intimidating security manager, was a fan favorite. With his no-nonsense attitude and willingness to physically remove unruly customers, Rich became a symbol of authority in the chaotic environment. After leaving the show, Rich shifted his focus toward personal security and consulting, using his experience to help businesses manage safety and conflict. While he may have stepped away from the spotlight, his reputation as a strong and reliable presence remains intact. Another standout personality was Bobby J., whose humor and street-smart negotiating skills made him a memorable part of the team. Bobby brought a unique energy to the shop, balancing tension with moments of comic relief. After the show, he continued working the pawn industry, staying connected to the world that made him a household name. His journey serves as a reminder that for some, the pawn business isn't just a job. It's a way of life that, as we look back, it's clear that Hardcore Pawn was more than just a reality show. It was a window into human behavior, a place where desperation met opportunity, and where every item had a story. From rare collectibles to deeply personal belongings, the shop saw it all. And while the cameras captured the drama, they also captured the resilience of the people behind the counter. Why did the show come to an end? Like many reality series, Hardcore Pawn eventually faced declining ratings as audience interest shifted, but its impact remains undeniable. It paved the way for other pawn-based shows and introduced millions of viewers to the inner workings of a business most people never fully understood. Even years later, clips from the show continue to circulate online, proving that its appeal hasn't faded. Today, American Jewelry and Loan still operates, a testament to the foundation built long before the cameras arrived. The Gold family's story continues, evolving with each new challenge and opportunity. While they may no longer be on television, their legacy lives on to business, their personal ventures, and the fans who still remember the unforgettable moments that made Hardcore Pawn a cultural phenomenon as the lights dim and the doors close on another chapter. One thing is certain. The world of Hardcore Pawn may have changed, but its spirit remains as bold and unpredictable as ever. And for those who watch it all unfold, the memories of those intense negotiations, explosive arguments, and surprising deals will never fade. The question isn't just where they are now. It's how they managed to leave such a lasting mark on reality TV history. And the answer, much like the show itself, is anything but ordinary. But the story doesn't end there. Behind the shouting matches and dramatic negotiations, there were deeper layers that viewers rarely saw. The pressure of running a high-profile business under constant surveillance took its toll on everyone involved. Cameras didn't just capture the action, they amplified it. Every disagreement became more intense, every mistake more visible, and every success more scrutinized. For the Gold family, balancing reality TV fame with real-life responsibilities wasn't always easy. Les, despite his tough exterior, had to navigate the challenge of maintaining authority not only as a business owner, but also as a father in front of millions. The line between family and business blurred more than ever. While viewers saw arguments, what they didn't always see was a mutual respect that kept the family grounded. After the show ended, Les reportedly embraced a quieter pace, focusing more on legacy than limelight. He became increasingly involved in mentoring young entrepreneurs, sharing lessons learned from decades in one of the toughest industries around. Seth, on the other hand, continued pushing forward. His ambition didn't slow down, it evolved, without cameras dictating the pace. He had more freedom to implement long-term strategies that were difficult to execute during filming. He leaned heavily into branding and customer experience, understanding that modern businesses thrive not just on transactions, but on relationships. Insiders have suggested that Seth played a key role in adapting the store to changing times, especially as online marketplaces began to compete with traditional pawn shops, that Ashley's journey remains one of the most fascinating transformations. Walking away from the family business wasn't just a career move, it was a statement. She wanted to prove that she could succeed independently, outside the shadow of a hit television show. Building a jewelry brand from scratch required patience, creativity, and resilience. There were setbacks along the way, moments when the transition felt overwhelming, but Ashley stayed committed. Over time, her designs began to attract attention, and she carved out a niche that reflected her bold personality. Her story stands as a powerful example of reinvention. Meanwhile, the employees who once filled the shop with energy each took their own paths. Some remained in the pawn industry, while others explored entirely different careers. What united them all was a shared experience of being part of something bigger than themselves. Hardcore Pawn wasn't just a job, it was a phenomenon, and being part of it left a lasting impact. Fans have often wondered if a reboot or revival could ever happen. In an era where nostalgia drives entertainment, the idea isn't impossible. However, the world has changed significantly since the show first aired. Social media, online selling platforms, and shifting consumer habits have transformed how businesses operate. A modern version of the show will look very different. Less about walk-in chaos, and more about digital deals and global reach. Still, the core appeal, the human drama, would remain just as compelling. Another question that lingers is how real the show truly was. While the situations were grounded in real transactions, the presence of cameras inevitably influenced behavior. Emotions ran higher, reactions were bigger, and conflicts escalated faster. Yet, that doesn't mean it was all staged. The unpredictability of the pawn business ensured that no 2 days were ever the same. Customers walked in with stories that couldn't be scripted, bringing a level of authenticity that kept viewers hooked. Looking back, Hardcore Pawn captured a unique moment in reality television history. It arrived at a time when audiences were fascinated by behind-the-scenes glimpses of unconventional businesses. It stood out because it didn't try to polish reality. It embraced the raw, sometimes uncomfortable truth of human interaction. That authenticity is what made it memorable. Today, reruns and online clips continue to introduce the show to new audiences. Younger viewers, discovering it for the first time, often react with the same shock and fascination as those who watched it during its original run. The confrontations, the negotiations, the unexpected twists, they still hold up. In a way, the show has become timeless. And perhaps that's the most interesting part of the story. While the cast members have moved on and their lives have taken new directions, the impact of Hardcore Pawn remains frozen in time, ready to be rediscovered by anyone curious enough to step into that chaotic world. Where are they now? They're entrepreneurs, creators, mentors, and individuals who once lived under the bright lights of reality TV and came out stronger on the other side. Their journey didn't end when the cameras stopped. It simply entered a new chapter, one that continues to unfold away from the spotlight. As we close this deeper dive, one thing becomes clear. Hardcore Pawn wasn't just about buying and selling. It was about people, their struggles, their ambitions, their conflicts, and their growth. And that's why, even years later, its story is still worth telling. Even now, years after the final episode aired, there's a certain mystery that still surrounds Hardcore Pawn. What really happened behind closed doors when the cameras stopped rolling? What moments never made it to air? Former insiders have hinted that some of the most intense situations were actually toned down for television. That says a lot about just how unpredictable the environment truly was. When you're dealing with people's money, emotions, and sometimes desperation, the stakes are always high, and not every moment can be neatly packaged into a TV segment. There were days when the shop floor became so chaotic that filming had to pause entirely. Heated arguments would spill beyond what producers could safely manage, forcing security to step in more aggressively than viewers ever saw. These behind-the-scenes moments reveal a different side of the show, one that was less about entertainment and more about real-life conflict management. It also highlights just how skilled the team had to be in handling volatile situations while still keeping the business running smoothly. Another layer to the story involves the customers themselves. While many came in hoping to make quick cash, others brought items with deep personal value. Some were reluctant to let go, torn between financial need and emotional attachment. These moments added a level of depth that went beyond the typical reality TV formula. They reminded viewers that pawn shops often sit at the intersection of hardship and opportunity. For every loud argument, there was a quieter story of someone trying to get back on their feet. Over time, the cast members learned how to navigate not just the business, but also their own public personas. Fame can be a double-edged sword, and being recognized everywhere you go changes how you interact with the world. Fans would visit the shop not just to pawn items, but to meet the people they had seen on TV. This created a unique dynamic with a line between customer and fan blurred. Managing those expectations became part of the job. Les, in particular, had to adapt to being more than just a businessman. He became a public figure. His words carried more weight. His decisions were more visible. His actions were constantly judged. Yet, he managed to maintain a sense of authenticity that resonated with viewers. He didn't try to become someone else with the cameras, and that consistency helped build trust with the audience. Seth's evolution is equally compelling. Over time, he became more confident in his approach, less concerned with proving himself, and more focused on leading effectively. The early clashes with his father gradually gave way to a stronger partnership, even if their differences never fully disappeared. That tension, in many ways, was a driving force behind the show's success. It reflected a real generational shift in how business is done. Ashley's absence in later seasons left a noticeable gap. Her energy, her boldness, and her willingness to challenge both customers and family members made her a key part of the show's identity. But her departure also underscored an important truth. Sometimes growth requires stepping away. By choosing her own path, she demonstrated a different kind of strength, one that doesn't rely on constant visibility. As for the future, the legacy of Hardcore Pawn continues to spark curiosity. Could there be a reunion special, a documentary revisiting the cast, or even a next-generation version of the business featuring new faces? These questions keep fans engaged, even in the absence of new episodes. In a media landscape driven by nostalgia and reboots, the door is never completely closed. What makes a story so enduring is its relatability. At its core, Hardcore Pawn was about negotiation, not just of prices, but of identity, family roles, and personal ambition. Everyone who walked into that shop was negotiating something, whether it was the value of an item or the direction of their life. That universal theme is what gives a show its lasting power. And so, as we reach the final chapter of this journey, we're left with more than just updates on where the cast members are now. We're left with a deeper understanding of what made Hardcore Pawn special in the first place. It wasn't just the shouting or the deals. It was a human element, the unpredictability, and the raw honesty that came with it. The door